Alright everybody, what is going on? I'm pretty excited for this one today. 1 year on YouTube as of this week with the Harley Sportster. So we're going to talk about this journey that I've been on YouTube for 1 year now, putting out videos, meeting up with people, creating content, Instagram, all that good stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I started this, how I started this, and some of the tips and tricks along the way that I have found of doing this to try to be successful within your 1 year on YouTube. So let's roll the intro. We'll get to it. Alright, so like I said, 1 year on YouTube doing vlogs with the Harley Sportster. Man, time flies when you're having fun, right? So I'm looking back and I'm thinking, like, I was looking at the schedule and some of my videos and the calendar and stuff. I was like, man, this is my 1 year anniversary, I guess. I was looking back, coming up on 1 year so far that I've been posting videos and stuff. So I was like, let's do a recap. Let's talk about it, how I started, why I started, some of the stuff I've learned along the way, and if that helps anybody else out there, that's awesome. So before we get started, if you're newer to the channel or if you've been here for a while tuning in, thanks so much either way, certainly appreciate it. Let me know how we're doing so far. Now I might open myself up to some criticism here, I might regret this actually, but drop me a comment down there. Let me know how we're doing here so far with the videos. Let me know what you like, let me know what you don't like. Drop me a comment down there, let me know what you think so far after 1 year. So let's kick this thing off with 1 year ago, why and how I started this. So I had this idea, obviously, you know, all of us riders out there, when we're getting bikes and all that, like, we're always looking up stuff on YouTube, you know, install videos, different review videos and all that good type of stuff. So obviously that's how I kind of found this world of like moto vloggers, is you just continually keep stumbling upon newer and newer and newer ones. And I was really just kind of like getting into it back in like 2017 when I got my first bike, when I started riding, stumbling across all this stuff, and you know, mostly just using it as like an educational resource, like tips for riding, tricks, all this different stuff, installs, reviews, like I said. But then eventually, like towards the end of 2019, where I was like, this could be kind of interesting, because I've said this before, I used to ride by myself all the time. I didn't really know a whole lot of other riders. I was trying to meet people, different stuff like that. But one of the main reasons that I started doing this was because I just want to start throwing some stuff out there, see what sticks, see if anybody finds it, see if I can network with some other riders. And luckily within this time frame, it's kind of worked out exactly like I hope it has. I've met so many cool people, ridden with so many cool people in Philly, over in Jersey, different stuff like that. We're just going to hopefully continue to grow that part. So we're definitely going to continue to keep trying to grow a little bit of a group here in Philly. If you're out there in Philly and riding, like I always say, man, hit me up, drop me a comment down there, follow me on Instagram over at the Moto Jawn. Always down to meet up with people and ride. We're going to be trying to set up some bigger stuff here soon. Some of that's in the works, but for now I've just been meeting up with random people here and there, little groups, stuff like that. So we're going to keep on with that. But anyways, like I was saying, towards the fall to winter of 2019, I kind of started to get this idea, like, you know, maybe I'll do this. Maybe I will, you know, use this as like a networking tool. So at that point, I started to acquire, you know, some of the gear. Like, this stuff's expensive, so I'm just kind of slowly getting the camera, the mic, the adapters, the hookups, all that good stuff. And then, you know, through fall and winter, I'm just experimenting with the camera, doing research, all this different stuff, trying to teach myself how to film. Now, let me also just back up for a second and say I have absolutely no experience with cameras, GoPros, editing, any of that type of stuff. So this was literally all brand new to me. So a lot of the fall and winter of 2019 was learning how to do all that stuff, teach myself the camera, teach myself editing, teach myself recording. So after some time of learning all that stuff, camera editing, software, uploading, I mean, I didn't even understand YouTube at the time. Basically, I had to literally teach myself, and I think a lot of people are in this boat too. I had to do all kinds of like practice uploads to YouTube and thumbnails and stuff to see how all that stuff worked out. So seriously, all of winter and fall of kind of 2019 and 2020 early on was all just learning, basically. So then as 2020 pursued along and the coronavirus hit, at that point in time, in March of 2020, I was furloughed from work. So then at that point, I was like, I literally have nothing to do. Everything in the world is shut down. I don't have a job right now. What am I gonna do? I literally just dove head first into all this stuff. Taught myself a little more camera stuff, taught myself a little more editing. And again, all my stuff is pretty basic and simple. I'm not doing any crazy cinematic type stuff out here. This is all pretty basic stuff that I taught myself along the way. So when I got furloughed from work, I was like, all right, we're doing this. I'm just gonna make this a full-time job. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know anything about this, but I know that I have nothing else to do besides just do this. So this is where some of my little like tips and some insight into how I did this and how I went about it is going to come in. I'll give you a little insight into how I kind of got started into this, and a little insight into what my approach was, what my strategy was. So first thing I did months before I was even going to start posting videos, obviously I was practicing all that, but way ahead in advance, I started an Instagram. I was like, all right, the first step is we got to start an Instagram, get a little bit of an Instagram presence, post some cool pictures up there, see who we can meet, see who we can network with, see what type of following we can build before we even start posting any videos. And I think that's a really good approach, because if you can start to get some interest and some following in there before you even post your first video, that's really going to kind of help kickstart some of those initial videos that you post. So like I said, Instagram was really the first thing that I focused on between March and April of 2020. It was all, you know, just riding around the city, going all over the place, getting a big stockpile of pictures, trying to check out cool places, get video ideas and all that stuff. And the good thing about starting an Instagram first, or not even necessarily starting an Instagram first, but you really have to use Instagram to your advantage throughout this whole process. So for example, your reach on Instagram is going to be far greater than it is on YouTube early on. Now I'll explain that a little bit more here in a little bit. So early on, Instagram is definitely your friend. Use it to network, use it to find other people. And lucky for me, very early on in like that March, April time frame, I think I was able to network with Cole over at bikemeets.com. You hear me talk about him a lot. Tim over at Nevermore Moto, Jason at Ironborn Rider. Talking to those guys a lot, just like networking, talking through, you know, Instagram and all that type of thing, checking out their videos, checking out their pictures and all that good stuff. So that's how Instagram is going to help you out initially. So then it comes time to really get that first video out there on YouTube, and I'm like, well, I have some ideas of what I kind of want this whole situation or channel to be, but I'm not exactly sure, you know, how it's all going to come across on camera or with me talking and all that type of stuff. So the whole time I'm thinking, like, what is my, you know, this might be corny, but what is my mission statement or my value prop or, you know, whatever that's going to be. So I'm thinking, I'm like, I just learned how to edit. I'm not that good at it. I just learned how to use the camera. I'm not that good at it. I don't know. I can't do reviews. I can't do installs. I don't have a garage. I don't have, like, access to a bunch of tools and stuff. I'm like, I was kind of like, what actually am I going to do? Like, what is anybody gonna watch this? Is this gonna be interesting at all? Like, what do I have here? So as I was thinking through that kind of brings me to like one of my next points, or one of my next tips is like, figure out what you want this to be. Like, figure out what your agenda is here. Like, what is your goal? Like what are we trying to do? You know, like, what's the end game, or what are we trying to accomplish here? So I started to realize, I was like, you know, I don't think anyone's doing this around Philly. At least at the time, I hadn't really seen anyone else out there doing it. There might have been, there might still be. And if you're out there, hey, hit me up, let's ride. But anyways, I'm like, okay, so, and I'm not gonna be doing all this other stuff that other people are doing out there with these types of videos. So I'm like, how can I separate myself or whatever? I'm like, okay, I have Philadelphia, I have the bike, and I think I can maybe start some good motorcycle conversations. And I kind of want to bring some people together, and I want to show people Philly. So that's what you always hear me saying is, you know, if you're into riding around, meeting up, traveling, exploring, looking at the great city of Philadelphia, checking out all that good stuff, that's kind of the value prop. That's what you're getting here at the Moto Jawn. The Moto Jawn is all this stuff, you know, bringing people together, riding through Philly destinations, traveling, talking bikes, all that good stuff. And if you take a look back at my very first video, I feel like I've stayed pretty true to that, I think. You know, that was a lot of stuff that I talked about in my very first video. I'll link it up down there. And go ahead back there. If you've never seen my very first video, go check it out. Let me know what you think. But that was always the goal behind this, was to meet some people, show people Philadelphia from two wheels, bring some people together, talk motorcycles, and network with other like-minded people. You know, I didn't really think anything else of it other than that. Like, that was the main goal, and that still is the main goal. So finally I ended up getting that first video out there, and then from there my approach and my strategy has kind of been, I really stay on a 1 video a week schedule. There had been times throughout the year and throughout the summer where I had done more, but I really find that, you know, with work, you know, different other obligations, whatever they might be, you know, 1 video a week every Tuesday seems to kind of fit my schedule best. So that's another tip. You always hear people talk about consistency. Definitely stay consistent. And by the way, if you're tuning in, speaking of Tuesdays, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can catch that Tuesday video. So that was the approach. Like, let's keep this sustainable, you know, let's keep 1 video a week. I would kind of like to get to 2, but I don't know, we'll see how it goes throughout the year. I think there is something to be said for putting too much content out there. You know, you're putting out like 3-4 videos a week. I just don't know that people have time to watch it. I don't know that there's enough topics to really keep it fresh and engaging. I know once a week works out for me, maybe twice will in the future. But so then, you know, early on, you know, tips and different things like that, like, I mean, I gotta be honest, early on, let's just be honest here, no one is gonna see your videos. When you have very few subscribers, you're just not gonna get a lot of views at first. I mean, that's just the way it goes. It's hard to get the velocity of clicks, it's hard to get the impressions to really build up a lot of views early on. But some of the things that I did to kind of help that out a little bit is, like I said, going back to Instagram, you gotta use Instagram to leverage some of your early videos. And why is that? Because your reach on Instagram, like I said earlier, is gonna be far greater initially than it is on YouTube. So with Instagram, obviously everyone knows you can tag in locations, you can tag brands, you can tag people, you can do your hashtags. All of that is going to get you a lot quicker exposure than on YouTube when you don't have a lot of subscribers yet. So when you're tagging all those locations and people and all that stuff on Instagram, you never know who's going to come across that. You know, you got people looking up those locations, you got people looking up those tags, you got people looking up the hashtags and all that. You just never know who is going to come across your stuff, follow you, and then check you out on YouTube. So one of the big tips there is just go in tagging people, locations, hashtags, all that stuff, and people are eventually going to find you. So then obviously, of course, everybody knows we got the link in bio on Instagram. You know, we got a link up in there. People are going to find it. People are going to click it, I guarantee. So like I said, you never know who you're going to come across on Instagram or who's going to find you when you use all these different tags and stuff early on. Now, eventually what will happen is that's going to start to shift a little bit. You're still going to want to use Instagram. I still use it all the time, post cool stuff. Like I said, never know who's going to find you. That's how I do a lot of meetups and meet up with people as well as through Instagram. But eventually, as your subscribers build up on YouTube, your impressions are going to get much higher on YouTube than they are on Instagram. So then once you start to build up a little bit of a subscriber base, what do you got to do from there? Or what I did at least was you start to get a little bit more creative with the thumbnails or the descriptions of the videos and the content itself. You get a little more creative with that. And then that's where the clicks, the impressions, the views, all that stuff is going to start to climb slowly over time. It really takes a lot of time. I know a lot of people get a little like discouraged at first when stuff's not picking up, but I mean, I'm telling you, man, that stuff takes time. But so once I noticed that YouTube was starting to pick up a little bit more, that's when I kind of started to realize that there's a couple different ways you can go with like your videos and your titles and stuff. So obviously a couple ways you can go is obviously SEO is one of the big ones. You know, stuff people are searching for, stuff people are like actually looking for, typing in the toolbar. And a lot of that lends itself to stuff like, you know, reviews, product reviews, and different stuff like that, because people are always typing that into the toolbar. They want that information, they want it. It's very searchable and things like that. So, but then from there, your other option is also a little bit of kind of the intriguing, I don't want to say clickbaity type stuff. I mean, some stuff's clickbaity, I don't know, but the catchy titles and the clickable type stuff. I have found that a combination of both works really well together. The SEO stuff works long term, and kind of the intriguing clickable stuff works closely together. So that's kind of what I have noticed throughout this process, is those two items kind of go hand in hand, because you need the long-term searchability, but you also need a lot of the rapid clicks and interest, because you know, everybody knows within the first hour, the second hour, the clicks, the views, the average duration, all that good stuff, the likes within the first couple hours, the velocity of that coming in very quickly is really important. So if you can find long-term search stuff along with some stuff that's going to get you some quick clicks, quick views, and all that, that's kind of how it sets you up to then start getting promoted, other people see you, start getting recommended, all that stuff. And that's how you really try to get into a little bit wider audience base. But again, that's just kind of like simple, basic stuff that I've noticed. Also, some simple stuff that I've kind of heard along the way, stuff that I've noticed within my own videos and analytics, different things like that. So yeah, like I said, we started out with that first video. It has since been 1 year posting on Instagram, posting videos on YouTube, obviously. And it's been a blast. I met some awesome people. Still waiting to meet some of the people that I talk with. Met some awesome people in person. Opened up some really cool opportunities that I'm working on towards the future. So I'm pretty happy with that, how everything has gone so far. So, I mean, where we stand right now is this thing has 1,470-ish subs right now, about 1,400 followers on Instagram. And honestly, I got to give a huge shout out to you guys and gals, everybody out there, for tuning in, making this what it is, continuing to grow this. All the support, all the good comments, all the bad ones too. I mean, I've got to give a huge shout out to everybody out there. Thanks for tuning in. Always appreciate it. I mean, the fact that this many people have wanted to tune in over time, it's just crazy that so many people have wanted to tune in and interact and engage and stuff like that. And that's awesome. And I mean, it's all because of everybody out there tuning in. So huge thank you to everybody. Much appreciated. Hoping to meet up with more of you out there. We got some of that in the works, so make sure you stay tuned for some of that. So yeah, a year later, man, this has been a blast. So we're hoping to continue it. We're going to continue growing it, hopefully meeting more people, setting up some small little events and stuff like that, which I can't wait for all that. The riding season of 2021 is young still. We're just getting started with a lot of that stuff. So I hope you enjoyed that recap of my first year on YouTube, how we got started, why I'm out here, what we're doing, some tips and tricks that I've learned. If any of that helps you out, let me know. If you got any other tips out there too, drop them down there. What's working for you? Let me know. I could use some tips also. But that's going to wrap it up for today. We're heading out towards Plymouth Meeting, Conshohocken area of Philadelphia, if anybody's familiar with that. So, like I said, a huge shout out to everybody out there. Huge thanks to everybody that tunes in. If you're tuning in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop me a comment down there. I always love to hear from everybody. Like I said, good or bad comments, always appreciate them. Drop them down there. So that's going to wrap it up with this one. 1 year on YouTube with the Harley Sportster. As always, thanks for tuning in. Ride safe out there. It's the Moto Jawn. We'll see y'all on down the road. Peace.